Windbag Ranch was built for gathering squirt extract in copious supply. Ain't nothing more healthful. Some folks showed up to make a fast buck with nothing but a knife. Place gets awful slick sometimes. Other folks came to train their throwing arms. Still others use the place to test their finest blades. Slippery little devils. Kid cuts all of them down soon enough. Kid comes back from ranch smelling good and ripe. War machetes are so quick, you gotta keep a good grip on them. The dead welcome him with open arms. The calamity took everybody after all. Kid sees it plain, frozen faces all around. These folks never saw the calamity coming, but someone did. Someone close. Someone like him. Kid sees him there agape, in the flesh. It's a snag or two trying to get to him. He ain't about to stop, no matter what. He's got so many questions after all. Just ain't got time for answers. The Thunder brothers didn't make it. They never saw what it was like beyond the walls. Nordy, the bird boy, didn't make it. The Jawsons, they didn't make it. Grady Sr., Grady Jr., they didn't make it. But him, he survived. Kid finds proof enough that man ain't from around here. Just think, without that man, we wouldn't be here right now, would we? Kid does what he has to do. And then, what do you say to a man who's seen too much? Kid hasn't a clue, but he says this: we have to go. Please. He's a proper gentleman, that man. His name is Zolf. No hiding he's an Ura. Folks like him ain't never been a common sight in Caelondia. He's relieved to see a living face or two. The kid and I introduce ourselves in kind. Both to him and to each other for the first time. We fought the Ura decades ago, but that was then. Things are different between us now. We could always see the stars. We just never could reach them, no matter how high we built. For Zolf, Caelondia was like a second home. He's real worried about his first home, too. Far to the east. Zolf offers to help me plot the skyways for the kid. At least the calamity hasn't touched the stars, he says. He was born in the Tazzle terminals. The Ura sent him on a mission of peace to our city, and he's lived here ever since. The cores, they remember. That's why this place is coming together. That's why things are gonna be all right. Well, look what we have here. The memorial. Here, a kid can pay respect to the old world and earn it in kind. The valediction. Just another one of my sketches. Nothing more. Words can't express what happened, but they're all I got. We tracked down a couple more cores near the edge of the city. No use praying to the gods these days. No time for it either. Kid says a little prayer anyway. Couldn't hurt, right? Folks used to make pilgrimage here to pay their respects to Pith, the bull. Well, the gods are long gone now, and the Orchard Core is long gone too. Pith stood for something once. Something real. In time, though, the bull stopped being a symbol and started being decoration. Pith makes a decent scarecrow, at least. Then Pith lights up like a rodeo. Ain't easy punching through his hide. Kid breaks him to bits. Must have been guarding that shrine. So what'll it be? Invoke the gods, or tell them off? Kid don't need favors from the likes of Pith. On second thought, maybe he does. Pith. Well, if the gods are alive, they must be plenty sore. windbags is hard enough. No need to get the gods involved. Catch you if you fall. Things might have gone worse if Kid tampered with that shrine. Kid ain't found a core, but at least he found Zolf's precious shrine. The gods don't care about trinkets, but the kid ain't no god. If Orchard, the place is a dead end in more ways than one. Now we can build a shrine of our own. I got some alternatives in mind. Zolf doesn't touch the thing. Says the god of commotion is no children's toy. The Ura feared the gods. We turned them into toys, put their faces on our walls. There's only one way to cinder brick fort. The hard way. Sure, the city marshals may be gone, but now the fort's crawling with windbags. The calamity was mercy for normal folks. The windbags ain't so lucky. They've been left to freeze or starve or face the kid. It's ready for the windbags this time. Well, windbags young and old keep fighting for the fort. Good thing the windbags don't know the kid's fresh out of health tonics. At least the marshals left the kid a parting gift. Something the windbags just can't handle. Something that'll punch clean through their greasy hides. Windbags ain't much different from normal folks. All they want's a warm place to stay and a decent meal. The calamity drove the windbags topside. A lot of them wound up here in this very fort. Could have been minding the business underground like in the old days. Windbags can't use the marshal's supplies, but the kid sure can. As for the windbags, Cinder Brick gave them enough heat and metal to munch on for a while. Well, the fort ain't theirs by right. Can't blame them for wanting it, though. So many of those sorry things hold up inside that old fort. Not a scratch on him as he presses on to higher ground. stash of grenades is there for him if things get even worse. Security's plane gone haywire. Windbags gummed up the works. Kid ain't afraid of getting burned. They trapped the kid in the middle of the fort's parade grounds. Then they bring out Glutus and Glandon and all their scumbag uncles. Kid takes down Glutus. Maybe it was Glandon. They got something to gain, and only their sorry hides to lose. The other big fella soon joins his brother, wherever they are now. Kid used to dream of getting a marshal's badge, but not like this. And now ain't nothing left for nobody down at Cinderbrick Fort. Kid shows up just as Zulf had his own journey to the city. The marshals seem like good men, he says. They treated him with dignity. Zulf brought his antique smoking pipe all the way from the terminals. Seems the only thing the Calamity saved for Zulf was a smoking pipe. Poor kid collapses after just one drag. The past. Only good thing ever come out of the past is history. fast catches up with the kid. Hardly had a moment's rest since all this started. Fair to say he's led a hard life, supposing what he says in his sleep ain't no lie. He never knew his old man, but he had his mama to take care of. Frail thing with pure white hair like his. Having his mama's hair did the kid no favors while he was growing up, but he learned to hold his own out there. School ain't working out, so the kid signs up for a turn on the rippling walls. Make his mama some money. Thanks to folks like the kid, the walls kept Ceylondia safe from whatever's out there. The elements, the Ura, you name it. Once the kid done his time, he hurried on home. Turns out his mama's time was done too. The city had nothing for him. The money he'd been sending home was nowhere to be found either. So what'd the kid do? Why, he went right on back to the walls for another 5 years. In the history of Ceylondia, nobody's ever volunteered for a second shift on the walls. Out there, kid learned to fend for himself, learn to build, learn to break. time, the kid earned good standing with the marshals. They trusted him to scout out farther than anybody. One night, on one of his expeditions, the ground beneath him shuddered, cracked, and split apart. What was I saying? Anyway. You saw nothing where the world used to be. The calamity happened just like that. All the kid had to work with was his hammer and the clothes on his back. Through twisted streets, he ran with nothing but the city crest and an old stranger's voice to guide him. Willie finally arrived at Caelondia's vaunted safe haven. He and no one else. But then, all they got was more thankless work from a man who ain't even asked his name. Sure, I may be the one who dreamt up the walls and the Bastion, but the kid made 'em real, not me. I'd like to say I'll never forget him, or what he's doing, what he's done. I surely would. Cinder brick stout sure goes down smooth, then stays in your gut like a rock. Anything survives a musket shot ought to be quick work for that blade. The Gravers, they are my justice. They seemed unstoppable. Even since the Ura surrendered to us, the Marshals kept a wary eye on them. Zolf's travels ain't much compared to what the kids had to go through for all this. The lost and found. Here, kid takes fragments of the old world and makes them whole again. All it takes is some fragments, and the Bastion makes it good as new. We all lost loved ones in the calamity, he says. I don't know how I'm gonna go on without mine. I tried to let the kid down gently. This is the Bastion, all right. Except no one else showed up. Ain't never letting go of his old friend with a sturdy grip like that. The Langston River flowed free and wild till the calamity drank it all up. Maybe all that water just grew wings and flew off. Riverbanks swarming with windbags. They're so bent on finding the core, they hardly notice the kid. Lucky for him, a certain famous ferry barge is still afloat. She sends some squirts crying home as she leaves port. Maybe Nellie knows the way to the core. Maybe she can slip right past all the clamor on the coast. Or maybe not. The security skiff pulls up portside. Nellie's just another windbag to those guns. Just then, the windbags notice who she's sailing with. They try to cut her off. They try to slow her down. Try to knock her out. Well, Weepin' Nellie tries harder. Try as she might, though, she hits a snag. Kid's gotta help her get untangled. Favors for favors. She picked a good spot for a break, because the core's right there. Then the kid hears an unusual sound, like 100 flapping wings. Peckers. They've been watching his every move. They had their own eyes on the core. But why? Well, kid ain't got time to think it over just yet. Finds Weepin' Nellie raring to go. Turns out she's got a special surprise for when the waters get rough. She's gonna need a little help with all them peckers. Crafty things think they're king of the roost now. Rest of us only wish we could fly down like these. Security skiffs keep on coming, starboard side. Don't seem to care what they shoot, as long as they hit something. The windbags getting even better out here. They aim to smash with the Nelly to splinters. Well, it all proves too much for poor Nelly. She's just gotta make one last stop. With her last breath, Nelly gets the kid to solid ground. Solid ground in Pecker country. They want that core real bad. It seems the calamity ain't hurt the Peckers' appetites. Might be they want it just as bad as a kid. Kid shoos them off, knowing they'll be back. Know how many times Kid nearly fell off the bars back there? 3 times. Now, listen close. You should remember this next part. Why go to Prosper Bluff? Used to take an enterprising man or a plain old fool to venture out that far. The city was the most beautiful place in the world. We all knew that. But on the other hand, some folks just yearn to see the things they're told they can't. And that's why you go to Prosper Bluff, ain't it? There the kid hears something he ain't heard in a long while. How's it go again? Yeah, that's the one.
Dig my hole, you build a wall. I dig my hole, you build a wall. One someday those tears are gonna spill. So build that wall and build it strong, 'cause we'll be there before too long. Gonna build that wall up to the sky. Gonna build that wall up to the sky. Someday your bird is gonna fly. Gonna build that wall until it's done. Gonna build that wall until it's done. But now you got nowhere to run. So build that wall and build it strong, 'cause we'll be there before too long. Dig my hole, build a wall. One day that wall is gonna fall. Gonna build that city on a hill. Someday those tears will so build that wall and build it strong, 'cause we'll be there before too long. Gonna build that wall up to the sky.
Well, no point explaining what happens next, right? Suffice it to say, kid ain't coming home empty-handed. And besides, it's like the song goes.
Someday your bird is gonna fly.
They'll be here before too long. We darn near celebrated when the kid got back, didn't we? Zolf never thought he'd see a fellow Ura again. We become fast friends. Calamity has that effect on people. But there was more to be done. There was one last core to find. A scientific journal written in Zolf's native tongue. He learned so much from it. Too much. If only I'd known half the secrets of the Calamity were tucked away in that book, I'd have worked to translate it right away. Most of the Ura never got a taste of Caelondia's fine goods, unless they were born and raised in the city like Zia here. Sure, the world's all gone to pieces farther than the eye can see, but leave it to this gal to point out the amazing view. Girl tried to run away from home one time, but the marshals stopped that, didn't they? So many secrets in there and she can't even read it. Her father's own journal. Kid's surprised when I tell him there's only one core left. I shouldn't have believed it either. Behold, the Pantheon. Finders keepers. Come on, give the little tyke a break. We tracked the final core beyond the city to the wilds. The wild unknown. Place can eat a man alive. Place is so raw, even the Calamity couldn't cook it. Not all of it. You know what's better than having a slinger pistol in a fight? Having two. Savage things lurking at every turn. Good thing pin cushions can't see where they're shooting. By now, kid's got more needles in him than a stab weed. Pecker's got the core, like they're building a bastion of their own. The welcoming committee scrambles to attention. Didn't expect the kid so soon. shouldn't have let the guard down. Getting that core was one thing. Getting out's gonna be another. He digs his way out of the clearing, but the wilds won't let him fight. Wallflowers survived the calamity. It toughened them up. Same goes for the kid. Kid's faster than a slinger with those guns. Don't ever turn your back on a pincushion. Kid's roused up half the wilds by now. Then Kid gets the feeling he's being watched. Not by me, by a lunkhead. And lunkheads ain't fond of two-legged animals. Hit him anywhere but the hindquarters and he only make him mad. The calamity must have scrambled their eggs. Leave it to the kid to make time for stomping swamp weeds. The wilds already reclaimed this place. Ow, gives a wallflower a taste of its own medicine. He's anxious to get back. After all, he's got the final core. His journey's over, right? Well, no, it ain't. Not by a long shot. Kid knows something's up when we ain't there to give a warm welcome. See, Zolf and I were just wrapping up a heated discussion. Zolf can barely muster the words. The calamity failed, he says, but I will not. And with that, Zolf leaves us here, alone. Zolf cursed the city, cursed the Bastion, cursed me. Said he was going home. When Zolf got through reading that journal, he just snapped. Started smashing up the monument till I tried to stop him. Zolf banged up the monument pretty bad. But there's a way to put her back together. The shards. We're gonna need all of them to nurse the Bastion back to health. The city brought the shards to the wilds. Now the kid's gonna bring 'em back. After Zolf's little episode, Kid sets off in search of shards. First stop, Jawson Bog. You'll get lost in that bog, I told the kid, and I won't be able to guide you back. Well, I let him go. What else could I do? What could any of us do? Zolf put us in a real bind. Hurt the Bastion bad. But the shards can make it better. They're like smaller doses of the core's medicine. Shame the only place to fill that prescription is out here in the wilds. This place is intoxicating. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good for all I know. Wherever he is, somewhere I've never been. Somewhere I never want to go. The dead welcome him with open arms. Kid pops him good. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. What do you say to a kid who's seen too much? I'm Zolf of Ura. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Now the kid sees something stranger still. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds peckers, lunkheads, wallflowers, pincushions, vine apples, swamp weeds, ankle gators. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. The kid sets foot inside one of Caelandia's famous watering holes. He has the nerve to flash the shield he stole. He's a petty thief. But security's just off the street. succeeds where the calamity failed. Would you look at what he did to poor old Rondi, the bartender? Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. It's so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world's alright, snoozing there on a rock in the sky. He wakes up. I'm just fooling. He sees what's left of the rippling walls. Years of work undone in an instant. He sees what's left of Piff, the bull. The gods, they're all undone. He sees what's left of his lifelong friend. His friend, he's come undone too. He sees what's left, undone. Thought we'd lost him, but he finally comes to. The shard ain't lost either. Not anymore. Now to find a ticket out of this hole. Bootlickers dig their nasty thorns into his heels. Ever heard of a lung blossom? It's bigger than the stories say. The breath on that thing, like a scumbag sprung a leak. They say one whiff of lung blossom can make you lose your mind. Well, the kid prunes it down to size somehow. to get a sure footing in the bog. Mother only knows what happened in the bog. Kid never much cared to speak of it. A shard is like a poor man's core, but beggars can't be choosers. That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. The shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. The arsenal's complete, in case we need protection. Want to stay alive in the wilds? Pack a pair of pistols and a good blade. The city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothes Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts we don't know up from down, still lurking about. These beasts, they don't like company. Only the city's brushers knew their way around the lagoon. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? A stinkweed. time for pecker hunting, but the kid can't resist. Can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. Brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Kid's got a mean throwing arm. Those pincushions been living off the ankle gator scraps. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass and he's Queen Anne's lunch. He holds his ground. Seems the Queen's running out of options. Still no sign of the shard. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. That old gator's right on his tail. Can't get hasty in a place like this. Queenie must have scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Ankle gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? You use a kid as bait. The shard's sitting in plain view. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. She's starting to get annoyed. And now he's made her mad. Rest in peace, Queen Anne. That was for the brushers. Kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. Crown jewel. All that trouble for a single shard. But you know what? It was worth it. Just the occasion to crack open the distillery's private reserve. Stay absinthe is like drinking a cool breeze. Just don't go spitting needles everywhere. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. That Gator's a crazy gal, but so is the gal who promised to look after her. To fix a brusher's pike, you just need a good length of knife bark. Takes a lot of moving pieces to make a dependable sidearm. You want to tune a scrap musket, you start with the barrel. The next shard should be farther out there in the wilds. Know how Caelondia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. But now, the greatest outpost past the city line is nothing but a freak show. The army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. pick up where they left off. Blam! Just like my fighting days. Gun like that can even put the wilds in check. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Whole place shudders in a fit. The grand rail of Point Lemaine, not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices, but it can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. Grand rails all grown over with things of calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. Kid lets a few of them slip by. Lunkheads settled in like they own the place. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, what with wallflowers coughing fungus everywhere. Only one way to cure a cough like that. The place used to be closed off, but now it's split open like a rotten pineapple. Of course, the Grand Rails seen much more fighting in bygone times. Near on 50 years ago, first shots fired in the Ura-Selamian War. It was right here that Zolf's Ura forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid took the shard. It's still got one good run in store for him, though. All the rotten wood there on the rails turned it into swamp weed central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? While shooting a genuine registered army carbine? While choking on swamp weed? While peggers trying to prick you in the eye? Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. But then, at last, it's the end of the line. Should have seen him tiptoe around those swamp weeds in his way. Turns out he's got company up at the rail stations, waiting for him. Not just another wallflower or pincushion blanket. At first, he thinks it's Zulf. "This is for you," says the man. Then wham! When the kid comes to, the man's long gone, but something else is there. The only words Kid recognizes on that parchment are for Zia. Well, what's a kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart on it. Zulf's messenger was one of his people. Wondered just how many of them survived, and what exactly Zulf told him. Finding gourmet ingredients ain't easy these days, but we'll take what we can get. The note says it plain. Zia, go east to learn the truth about the calamity and our people. I'll be waiting. Sincerely, Zulf. It ain't too late to unlock the potential of this place. Ain't saying much, but that's the greatest forge in all the city. That's the way to make every shot count. Machete and carbine still go well together, just like in the war.